So welcome everybody to Midweek Mindfulness. As always, it is a joy to be here with all of you, sharing this time and space. So I love the fact that this is on Wednesday, right? It's always kind of like an important aspect to the framework that we have in our daily or our weekly experience of things. It's got all the fun and affectionate names that people have come up with. But it's when you think of it in terms of like self-care and awareness, right? Like it's a great opportunity to stop and check in. Like, how am I doing with the week? Like, how am I feeling? What am I noticing? What are my energy levels like? Um, what is my ability to focus and concentrate like? How have I been maintaining my daily routine, my weekly routines? Getting a feel for, where we are and how we feel, in the place where we are, which again is that in a nutshell, that's kind of mindfulness, right? Is paying attention to what's happening in our experience. But then we want to add the qualifier that we do that non-judgmentally, right? Or at least we practice doing it non-judgmentally. Sometimes we sit and we notice the judgment as it arises, and we just notice the judgment, right? We're not trying to fix anything, we're just observing. Um, the really beautiful part of that is that the more we practice uh, shining the light of awareness, right, or using our awareness to notice what's happening in our experience, the more often the judgment kind of um, dissolves, right? And it's kind of a neat thing in how that functions. Because if you think about something that people can be judgmental about, that's easy. So I remember I used to commute back and forth between Farmville, Virginia, and the University of Richmond. And one of the things that I noticed was in the countryside on that drive, people are very, very invested in their mailboxes. It's it's a it's a it's a thing, right? Like, so some people go all out to decorate and to use their mailbox as kind of a form of identity and self-identification. Um, so sometimes there's like a cute name that goes with it, maybe combining, the owner's names, or sometimes it's just this amazing floral design. Some of them are little barns. Like, there's all these different complexities to the mailboxes. And the mindfulness practice that I was practicing at the time, because you can't really close your eyes and breathe while you're driving. Um, but just being really fully aware and fully present when you're driving is sometimes one of the hardest things we can do, or when we're doing anything. So I would notice my mind becoming distracted, and I would notice that it was seeing the mailboxes, and then it was beginning to evaluate and judge them. Like, I like that one, I don't like that one, that person needs a life, like, right, just moving down the line as I was driving every day. Um, and of course, the more I did it, the more I noticed, and the more judgmental I became. And so I started allowing myself to simply observe them, and working to release the judgment, in the sense that um, judgment comes as a form of comparison, right? It's about taking the past and bringing it into the future so that you can do some kind of critical analysis between the two. Wonderful tool, very useful tool, fantastic stuff. Really good for like crossing the street, good for, maintaining our physical well-being, things like that. Absolutely awesome. Um, can be really hard in other aspects of our lives, whether it's with ourselves, right? And comparing where we are compared to everyone else, or where we're supposed to be, right? As society is so fond of telling us. So in practicing looking at these mailboxes and not forming judgments around them, there were some of them that I found myself going, yeah, wow, you're really judging that. Like this is really a thing for you. So it was this beautiful moment to begin to practice that. But the more I practiced it, the more I noticed that my judgment was based on my own kind of experiences of things. Like I'm a perfect person that likes things to be very simple. And the more complex the mailbox, the more I saw it as gaudy or overdone, or somebody with too much time on there, right? Like there was this judgment, like somehow, like their mailbox and their expression of their mailbox somehow was inappropriate based on my estimate of things. And really connecting with that in again, this is a simple thing. I don't know these people. I'm never going to have this conversation with them, but I'm really assessing what's happening inside of me, right? I'm really noticing my thoughts and feelings around a particular thing, and then practicing noticing what creates the judgment itself, right? And where that comes from and where it stems from. Not necessarily to analyze it, just to be aware that it's there. Again, shining that light of awareness. And so the more I did that with the external, then I noticed what was happening internally, and then I could start to do it with the internal, right? So now I ride by and I see a mailbox and it looks very elaborate, and I just notice it the same way I would notice a tree going by on the side of the road, right? There's no there's no evaluation going on. And it's not that I don't fall back into that from time to time. Certainly I do. And then that's a great opportunity to practice. But generally speaking, like I just see them, right? There's no connection to my past. I just notice, right? And it's just a part of the reality and the experience of that moment. So to flip that, to think about things that you're not judgmental about, imagine if you evaluated every tree you drove by when you were driving. Imagine how exhausted you would be when you showed up wherever you were actually going. Yeah, that would wipe us out completely. So those provide kind of like some things to play with, right? But it can be anything. It can be the way people dress, or vocabulary that they use, or really beginning to look internally, right? Like external tends to it's founded in comparison, so we tend to compare things outside of us. But it's also helpful to compare things sometimes inside of us, just to see kind of where we are with things. I was talking with an associate earlier this morning about how I can see my own evolution on understanding racism in a really meaningful way, because there's certain understandings and even beliefs that I had that I no longer hold, as I've educated myself more carefully, on how that functions. And to see that kind of evolution and progress within myself is a really beneficial thing, right? But the only reason it's happening is because I'm checking and I'm looking and I'm aware, and then I'm releasing judgment and investigating and trying to understand the models and the paradigms, um, and that's right. That's what growth is all about. Like that's what we do. But the more we practice noticing and then shining that non-judgmental light of awareness, um, which itself takes practice, right? It's easy to say, yeah, well, I'm just not going to judge that, while your brain is going, really? Like that was the choice you made, right? Like, yeah, and that's not a bad thing, right? So that aspect of judgment, I don't want to encourage you to think there's something wrong with that. Like that is a wonderful thing. That's why kids don't eat poisonous food. That's why how we learn to literally be safe in our environment. Um, it's kind of an amazing thing. Where it becomes challenging is where it starts to destroy, right, our understanding of ourself, right? Or if it diminishes our personal power, if it diminishes ourself to genuinely love ourselves, if it creates separation, you know, from others in our community who are also that are healthy, that would be, a benefit to having in our lives. I'm not saying we shouldn't draw healthy boundaries with those who we need to draw healthy boundaries with, right? That's absolutely perfect and very important and a critical thing to learn how to do and do well, right? But there's so many people that just kind of the old ideas from the past that we use to evaluate the present, right? They block us away from exploring new community and friendship and connections. And those, of course, are what make life rich. If you look at the studies about what people on their deathbed value most, right? It's the human relationships that they have along the way. Like that is the most important thing to them. So today I thought in order to, to kind of encourage this type of behavior, we would do, it's kind of like a loving kindness meditation, but it's a little more focused um, on the me, right? And loving kindness usually takes us outside of ourselves further, but that we would focus more on ourselves and really offering ourselves kind of that deep and rich love and caring, so that we're building that within us, so that when we then have it to offer to those who are outside of us. So again, my gratitude to each and every one of you. Um, so if you've not done this before, you just want to find a comfortable place to sit, right? Whether it's on a couch or a sofa or laying down, if that's what's most comfortable for you. We just want to be physically relaxed and mentally alert. If you are sitting, it's helpful to let your spine be tall and let your head balance on top of your spine, right? And start to settle down into your body. Let your hands rest gently on your lap or on the arms of the chair. You can let your feet rest on the floor, um, maybe allowing the feet to be flat on the floor if that feels comfortable to you. If your legs are crossed, that's fine too. Just noticing your contact with the floor. And I will invite the bell to get us started. So let's begin just simply by noticing that you're breathing, not controlling your breath in any way. Just noticing what your body, over millions of years of evolution, or however you understand that and how they come into being, just noticing what it finds to be important in this moment for what its needs are for breathing. And if you notice that bringing your attention to the breath makes it hard not to control it, that's okay. Just notice that too. Now maybe beginning to play with your breath just a little bit. Maybe allowing it to deepen on the in-breath, which naturally extends the out-breath. Maybe lengthening that out-breath to help the body relax, to activate that parasympathetic nervous system and bring our bodies into homeostasis. And as you stretch out that exhale nice and long, as you're able and as you're comfortable doing, it's not a competition. We're just playing with our breath and doing that so we can notice how our body feels as it responds to us controlling our breathing. Maybe try making your breath nice and shallow, slowing it down and slowing it down, and notice how your body responds. Now bringing your awareness to a point on your body, a place on your body where you notice the breath the most easily today, in this moment. It may be different from meditations past, but just really being present with the sensation of breathing. And as always, when your mind starts to chatter, the sounds from your environment distract you from the present moment. That's okay. When you notice that you've been distracted, just take note of what the distraction was. Right? We want to honor that where our mind goes, but then gently bring it back to the breath. And now gently scanning down through your body, looking for any place where you may be holding tension. Might be those little muscles around your eyes or your eyebrows or your temples, your cheeks, your jaw, neck, shoulders. Shoulders are always a big one. Once you find a place in your body that has tension, don't you don't have to try to relax it. Just simply shine the light of awareness on it. So notice that place in your body by bringing your awareness to it, right? We're not physically touching it, we're not moving it, we're just noticing it. And if you notice that there's a significant amount of tension, just do a nice, gentle, but full in breath and a really long exhale. And hold your awareness of the breath and those muscles in your awareness at the same time. And watch what happens on that long exhale. Notice the sensation of the chest and around the place where we metaphorically know our heart to be, the center of our chest. Physically, we know it's a little off to the left, but when we feel pain in our heart, it tends to be in the middle of our chest. And if it's comfortable, go ahead and place a hand or two over your heart. That's to draw our awareness to this place in our body. And on your next out breath, just really notice your heart and that sensation of the long exhale. So just noticing your body get heavier and heavier with each out breath. As we begin to notice and shine the light of awareness, our whole body just relaxes more and more with each out breath. And now begin to bring to mind somebody who loves you unconditionally. Just the thought of them makes your heart fill with joy or oxytocin or whatever you want to call it. But you can just feel the joy of being in that person's presence because they love you for who you are and they care deeply about you. And they're not hard on you or overly critical. They're gentle. And if you can't think of anyone in your life like that right now, that's okay. You can imagine. Or you can use a pet. So many of our pets treat us that way. I want you to just soak up that love with every in breath. With every out breath, just release any more tension, every last shred of tension from the body. So breathing in that love and acceptance and kindness and joy. And exhaling any tension or struggle or resistance. Just breathing into your heart, bringing in all that love, all that unconditional regard, all that pure acceptance. And on the out breath, just letting go. Just help your body just let go. Just notice where you're holding stress and just let go. And basking in that warmth, that love. And if it feels okay to you, keep breathing in the warmth and the love. And on the out breath, maybe send it out to someone in your life. It could be anyone you choose. It could be someone that you love. It could be the person that you're receiving the love from. It could be a relative stranger that you just happen to notice who's on your mind. It could be someone you don't care for in the least, but you recognize the struggle that we each face each and every day. Just exhaling that love out to whomever that person is. Really noticing how it feels and what thoughts arise as we send that love out into the world. Noticing any resistance within us for receiving the love or for sharing the love, not judging it, just noticing, just shining that light of awareness, just taking it in for what it is, not holding on to it. Judgment is what allows us or causes us to hold on to thoughts and feelings. It's that sense of injustice, or that sense of a lack of fairness, or the appropriate or inappropriateness of others. And letting your breath deepen. Really extending that exhale again. Letting your hands fall gently back to your lap. Beginning to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And I'll invite the bell as we slowly return to the room. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. So again, thank you all for being here. I hope you found today. That's perfect, Nancy. I'm so glad. Yes, beautiful practice for facing things like that, right? And really being prepared. Yeah, they can be very fraught. So yes, but have a wonderful day. And again, if you're practicing regularly, bring this into your practice. See how it goes. And as you're ready to going into a big meeting like that, stop for just a few moments with some nice deep breaths. Really connect with yourself. And take good care. And I'll see everybody next week at Mindful Mondays. Or I'm sorry, at Midweek Mindfulness on Wednesdays. Thanks so much.